Nail salon refused this service because one of her fingers looked different compared to the others. Since then, she's been very careful when choosing a nail salon and came to me after 60 days since she did nail extensions.
So here's our to-do list. Fixing 60 days of overgrowth, fixing that wide nail, doing long stiletto extensions with dual forms. Is using color gels as a builder gel a good idea? And doing space nail art within 1 minute. Let's start with product removal. I will be using ceramic bead, 28,000 rotations per minute. And probably you have a question here. Hey, it doesn't really look like 60 days of growth. I mean, how could they possibly grow not that much within 2 months? And honestly, I had the exact same question for this client. Like, I'm impressed that within 60 days you have such a little growth. The reason is it's not actually. Once I started product removal, I realized that the product line is much lower than that. But she used this red color on top just to conceal this overgrowth and applied a thin layer of gel polish on top. I decided to remove the top coat and the color first to see what's going on underneath, and actually not much is going on. I mean, there is a little lifting, of course. I would be surprised if there wasn't within such a long time, but nothing extreme. We also have long natural nails, which is really good, and that actually helped her. But also, I want to admit that these extensions, they were done pretty good. I mean, the structure is correct. They're not extremely thick. The thickness is just like it should be. That's the main reason why she was able to have them for so long. Because recently I did many nail transformations and they looked a bit different. Sometimes they were too thick, sometimes the structure was not built correctly, and when we have that and we also have an overgrowth, this is when it becomes dangerous and may damage the natural nail. Don't get me wrong, having your extensions for 60 days is bad either way, okay? Please do not use this as the guide. You still should not do this, but when we compare good structure, thin nails, 60 days, to thick nails and incorrect structure, the first one definitely wins, and we can see it. But also there are other factors involved. You know, some people are just naturally can live with longer nails more carefully. Some people just tend to break them more often. This also plays a huge role, and once again, it doesn't mean that someone's good, someone's bad. We just need to be aware of this, and if you know that you're not really good with super long nails, then you definitely should not have them longer for 3 to 4 weeks. You need to do infills on time. Her natural nails underneath are rather long, so it helped too, but it is pretty obvious that we are not doing fill here, we are doing new extensions. Plus, we are doing an extreme length, so we need to do it from scratch. That's why I'm filing off the free edge as well as the free edge of her natural nails, unfortunately, because we are not going to keep them since we're doing extensions anyways. But like I said, her natural nails are in pretty good condition, so she easily can grow them longer after these extensions if she decides to switch to an overlay. So we have a thin layer of the product remaining, which is not lifting, and usually in these cases I recommend just to leave it there. This is usually what I do. But here we have a different case. It's been 60 days. We had a long overgrowth, so there still is such thing as the product is too old. So I would not recommend leaving it on the nail, and will carefully remove it all the way so we can start fresh. Have you ever noticed that you look at the product, you look at the nails, the product is not lifting, like it's not right, you cannot separate it, but when you start filing it with ceramic bead, it's kind of like still coming off. So there's such thing as hidden lifting. So it's not really lifting, but it also doesn't have this great adhesion anymore. So that's why I recommend to remove it all the way. Now we have this special finger here, which is just slightly wider than the rest of them. And there's an interesting story involved. So this lady shared that when she went to the salon, her nail lady got pretty mad at her She said, "Hey, you should have warned me about this wide nail." And she was like, "Wait, what? Which wide nail?" Because before this situation, she was not aware that this nail is wider than the others. She just never noticed that, never paid attention to it. And the nail lady said, "Yes, you should warn me about such things because this is a completely different work. I need to do more work here. You always need to tell it before you apply for an appointment on the phone." I was surprised because I've never heard of that. I mean, I as a nail tech, if someone will come to me with this nail, I would be fine. I mean, why would you want to warn me? Yes, it's a little wider. Yes, I might work on it a little differently, but I don't really need to know it in advance. So I would like to hear your opinion about this, guys. Like, do you think clients should warn nail technicians about this kind of issues? I mean, I totally get it. If there is onycholysis, or if there is extremely damaged nail, or something really unusual, or extremely bitten nails, yes, it would be nice if you know it beforehand so you can get prepared. You can get a certain products, you can think of the technique you're about to use. If there is just one nail that is slightly wider, why should you warn someone? Anyways, then we proceed to dry manicure. I file the natural nails short, but you don't need to file them all the way. And then I started pushing back her cuticles. First I used orange wood stick and I noticed some tension. Usually I can tell that from experience if the person feels uncomfortable when I'm doing something. So I asked her, like, "What's wrong? Does it hurt?" She said, "Yes, it kind of feels sensitive." So I switched to this pusher and it felt so much better. And this is when I realized that we're also dealing with a sensitive client. Some people are just more sensitive to everything you do during manicure, which means we need to be careful. She also mentioned that every time she did a service in the salon, every single time she had different cuts, there was bleeding involved, so she never ever had a manicure that was painless in her life. I just thought to myself, challenge accepted, because my goal is definitely not to hurt her, so I will be extra careful. That's why I take a diamond flame-shaped bit with a red abrasive mark, and there are different kinds of them. So this particular one is softer on the edge. You may notice that it's not as sharp as most of them, and this is usually the one that I use for clients like this. If you don't have one, by the way, you can simply take an 80 or 100 grit file and file it down so it will be more rounded, but do not overdo it, otherwise it's not really going to work. So I will be using this drill bit to push back the cuticles to work on the sidewalls as well as on some hangnails that she has. By the way, I'm using a regular speed here, which is 18,000 rotations per minute. This is a popular misconception when people assume that, oh, okay, this client is sensitive, so we need to use a lower speed. But if you use a lower speed, especially with the flame bit, it may actually cause the opposite. You will need to press more in order to do the job, to push back all those cuticles, and it will cause more friction and more heat spikes. Using a lower speed here is actually a bad idea. Instead, use a softer abrasive and more gentle moves. By the way, if you would like to learn how to work with different cuticle types and to be confident when using electric nail file, I have an online course. It's called eFile 101. It's an online course with live teacher graded assignments and certificate of completion. And also I have a class that usually comes afterwards, which is electric nail file manicure. I will leave the links in the description box so you can check them out. After we're done with dry manicure and the prep, let's apply dehydrator, non-acid primer, and a thin layer of base coat. I will be doing stilettos with dual forms. I did that before, but I never did this style because these stilettos are hopefully going to look just like regular sculptured extra long stilettos, and I'm super excited to try it. So I will be using black jelly gel. So this is a sculpting gel. When you have sculpting gel, which means we can use it for extension, you need to understand the difference. So there are color gels, usually they are highly pigmented, usually you can apply a thin layer of it and it will not be see-through, but they are designed for nail art. You can use them for one color application, you can do nail art, sometimes you can even do overlays with them, but they're not designed for sculpting nails like this. While they're sculpting nails and they can also have some color, but they are designed to do long extensions, whether on regular forms, with dual forms, with any technique that you want. I don't think I've seen a black sculpting gel yet, although they probably exist. By the way, if you know a good one, please let me know in the comments. But I decided that using a black jelly gel would be a great idea because it's not completely dense. I mean, it's a little bit see-through, which is exactly what we need to do these sculptured stilettos. So first I'm going to build the friage right in the dual form, and recently I really enjoy this technique where I just apply it in all of the dual forms first, and after that I apply them right away on the nails. It usually saves so much time. When applying gel inside of the dual form, be aware that we need to apply more in the center to build the apex, and with long stilettos, apex looks slightly different. While when we're doing square or almond, apex is basically just one little spot. With stiletto, it's slightly longer, so you need to add more in the center, while the sidewalls and the friage should be rather thin. Also, we have a very deep C-curve here, which is going to bring the additional strength to the structure. So then I add more product near the cuticle and apply it on the nail. So usually I just press it on the nail while my client is holding this little UV light, so we can flash cure it. Usually we do just 2 to 3 seconds, but since we're using black gel this time, we decided to do 5 to 8 seconds just to be sure. Then I flip her hand over and fix the product underneath. Make sure it's smooth, make sure it's not overflowing in the hyponychium area, and then we proceed with the next nail. This is challenging because when using transparent gel, you can see through. You can see what's going on, if there's a bubble, if the product is not enough in the apex, but with black, you're completely blindfolded. Also, when it comes to this special finger, it's important to feed the dual form that is exactly matching its size. Of course, it's going to be much bigger compared to index or ring finger, but that's okay. Just make sure that you cover the sidewalls. Please do not leave them empty or naked because this nail is not going to last. Then we cure it for 2 minutes in LED lamp and time to take them off. Okay, this is where we stop breathing. Just carefully remove the dual form, and yay, it is working. Looks like we don't have enough product on the sidewall, and this is so obvious when using dark colors like this, right? By the way, if you're learning or practicing with dual forms, I think using these colors might be very helpful because you can notice these things right away, which means I'm going to add some product along the sidewalls, cure, and then we need to remove the sticky layer. Normally, the sticky layer is only underneath the nails when using dual forms, but since I added some product along the sidewalls, we also have it on top. And then we only need to file the sidewalls because basically the structure of the nail is finished. With this style of stilettos, we can make them super pointy like in needles, or we can round them up a little. It depends on what you prefer. I just can't get over the style of the stilettos because this exact style, we call them Gothic stiletto. I had these nails for over 2 years on myself every single time once I learned how to do stiletto, so it brings up such a good memories. So then I also buffed the surface with 180 grit buffer. Even though we worked on a smooth underside of the nail with the brush, I will still slightly file it with the carbide bit just to be sure it's super smooth and nice underneath, and basically that's it. Can you believe that? We basically did stilettos within what, like 15-20 minutes. Now let's do some magic. So I got this new Space Cat Eye gel polish in 2 colors, and it's both cat eye and light reflective. So we are going to try 2 colors. First one is golden, and I apply it right on the nail. I really like that they have this medium consistency, so it's not really overflowing to the cuticle or something like that. Then we magnetize these particles to bring the color up, and then I slightly touch the friage to get a little ombre. Another color is like pink or purple, so we apply it on the nail. At first I had some idea for different patterns with cat eye, but then we realized with this shape it looks really cool just the way it is. So instead we decided to put the color mostly in the center. And by put it, I mean I apply it and then I magnetize it and make sure that the glare is mostly near the cuticle, and then it slightly goes down like a drop of water. So it's going to imitate this stiletto shape. I think it looks so cool this way. And finally, we seal it with a glossy top coat. So these nails look gorgeous, and our middle finger does look slightly wider maybe, but I think it's really not that obvious with this shape anymore. They look so great with the lights on, but with the lights off, they're just unbelievable. Let me know which color do you think looks best, pink and purple or the golden one?